Welcome to another edition of the Creators Outlet, episode 152. Whew, been a long time. Brought to you by our friends over at the Inked Marketing Team, who want us to remind you about Heel Turn. The comic issue #1 is now live on Kickstarter, where the world of professional wrestling meets Dexter. Check it out for yourself. Get your copy today at inked.pub/heel turn. As we welcome John and Joel from this.
Pronounce Yule if you're wondering the pronunciation on that.
Because I go, my typewriter doesn't have those fancy dots. I go,
yeah, that's some strong key commands on the keyboard when we type that. So.
Yeah. Well, I tried the caveman smash and it just didn't work for me.
No, everyone wants to say Joel, so it's
that's Joel. This
exactly.
is Joel.
I didn't name it after myself. I got an ego, but it's not that rampant. So.
Hey, I thought I was in the book. I was like, Will at 8. I go, I don't remember finding that. That would have been cool.
Well, when we cast the film, you might be a consideration.
Yeah, no. For some reason, it wasn't believable. The guy was in his 50s and like 300 pounds.
Well, he can time travel, so anything's possible.
Oh, good. Can I time travel back to when I was thin? Because, oh, man.
It's possible, yeah.
I hate shopping at the fat guy store all the time.
It's husky, sir. It's husky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. If I was a woman, I would just be thick.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like,
and you'd be a Victoria's Secret model, too.
All these poor young lads going chasing down the mail, trying to find that catalog coming in just to, see somebody bigger than, I don't know, me. I'm a one-piece person. I can't pull off a two-piece, so no worries there. So this is your first forte into comics?
Yep, for both of us, yes.
Yeah, sure is.
And you smashed the goal. There's 8 days to go. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, Bill and Ted time.
Yes.
Backers, exactly. 69 dudes.
Right. I think I texted that to John when we hit that, so it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny to that. Yeah.
Just in case there's any people that have like the tissue hanging from their, over their shoulders to cry at everything that goes on the internet.
Well, so, anyone that follows us knows that we really don't have any filters either. So if they're watching, they won't care.
So. Well, first off, I want to play this video because I haven't seen it.
Awesome.
Wow. So, yeah.
Our buddy Scotty out in LA put that together for us. He actually does a lot of major motion picture trailers, and recently worked on Wonder Woman 84, like Tom and Jerry, and a couple others. So I just went to school with him. We were high school friends, so I'm lucky I had that connection still. But he put that together and did a pretty solid job.
Well, after working on Wonder Woman 84.
Right? He didn't make the movie. He just made the trailer.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
He is not responsible for anything that happened in that movie.
No, not at all. He took what was given to him and put it into a trailer.
Hey, in the trailer actually didn't look bad, right? So maybe that was a good thing.
There's a problem when when the trailer is the best part of the movie.
Right.
So, Joel, tell us about your art background. What have you done prior to this? And
yeah, I'll kind of wind it backwards. So prior to Yule, for the past decade, I've actually been a fine artist, oil painter, working in that, and kind of got into that because my mom got sick in 2010 with Alzheimer's, so I needed something to distract my brain dealing with all that mess and loss and family stuff. And prior to that, I didn't do anything really artistically from 2000 to 2010. I was running a business like most stupid 20-year-olds. I chased money, not passion, and that didn't work out too well, right? So didn't do that. Going back a little bit further than that, I was in a metal band, so I was doing art for album covers, T-shirt designs, logos. Worked at a tattoo parlor for a short stint, doing flash work, custom art. People come in. I never actually tattooed, but just did all the designs and things. Way back in my youth was my brother and I had this bedroom, man. I think it was 6 foot by 8. It was literally just big enough for bunk beds to be in there. And there's he had 6 long boxes of comics. So he started collecting in probably the mid 70s. So by default, I lived in that world with all of his books. And he was an aspiring writer and couldn't draw worth a darn. So he asked me to help come along and do some of his drawing stuff for him. And that started out early on. So what happened was the fine art world got a little bit slow with the COVID stuff, and the gallery openings and things weren't as prolific as they were, years back. So I said, well, geez, I got to pivot and go do something else artistically, because the goal of making the art is always to do more art. So I said, well, I'll just jump back in the comic book world, my illustration background, and go back into that and start doing that again. And John and I worked together in our day job. I didn't want to write anything, so I knew he was writing. So I said, John, you want to write something and I'll draw it. So here we are, and we're doing Yule.
Nice.
So this page has actually got an homage to Friday the 13th, the series, if you remember that show, the Antique Shop. So it's got
I actually used to watch that. Yeah.
That's a great show, right? I love that show. Yeah, I think I've seen every one. So
I'm surprised at how many people that you give that reference to are like, yeah. I'm like, I didn't think anyone knew about that show. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs in there. There's the record player, the waving monkey, the shrunken head, the jar that explodes with the Friday the 13th, the logos in there. So I had a lot of fun with that. I like to hide a lot of things visually in the art and see if people pick up on it. So it's all in there.
Well, first off, John, we're talking to a bunch of comic nerds. Yeah, we've seen everything.
There wasn't a lot of content back then either, so you really had to go out of your way to try to find stuff. That was pretty
yeah.
Right? So anything that was sci-fi or had some type of, I don't know, I guess a pulp vibe to it, we were in on it, man. That's what we were doing.
Yeah, it's you flip through channels because, your friends all went to the beach, and I am way too Irish to go out in the sun. So I'm like, well, what's on TV? And you go, and, early afternoon, you'd go out and play ball with your friends or something. And then, they'd go and do something. They'd go and do something else, and everybody go home for a little while, in time to have lunch and watch the Creature double feature on Channel 56. And, either some, monster movie or some kaiju stuff. And then you go back out in the middle of the afternoon. Then you come home early evening. You go, oh, I'm so bored. There's nothing to do. I got a whole basement full of fucking toys. There's nothing to play with. 3 game systems. Oh, this is boring. God, I wish I could be bored again.
Right.
I was a full-fledged member of the WLVI Kids Club too. So.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
It's so funny though. When I wrote this scene, I pictured the shop more as like the shop in the movie Gremlins. If you remember that shop where he gets Gizmo,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I sent
And doesn't listen, yeah.
right, yep, just like this kid, right? When I sent it to Joel, he mentioned the Friday the 13th shop, and I was like, I'm not familiar with the show, and he sent me the intro to the show, and I'm like, do it, that's awesome. So.
Yeah, the background, this panel is supposed to be a little bit loose and sketchy with the inks. It's supposed to be a little bit awkward because we wanted that feeling, because Will feels awkward when he's going in here to go shopping for his dad, because 8-year-old kids just don't end up in antique shops. That's not something they are commonly going into. So kind of seemed weird for him, and I wanted it to feel weird too. That was part of it.
Well, the other thing too, which I can hold up, but you won't see it great, but this page, it's a 2-page spread, and the panels go in a U fashion. So it's supposed to go up like that, which looking at this page, you wouldn't even necessarily know that you should be reading from the bottom up, but when you see them side by side, it's pretty obvious.
Cool, yeah. I actually used to go into antique stores. There was actually one at the top of my street. And I started going into them more and more. Let me blow that up. I used to go into them more and more once I found out that people would go in and like sell stuff. And some of the stuff they would sell were comics. So I'd be like, ooh, I can find old comics. And they would be, they'd be like, they'd buy like the whole box off of somebody for like $5 and, sell them like 10 for $1 or something.
Yeah, pre-eBay era, right? When everything was comparable comps back. That wasn't happening back then. It was just,
I'm talking like 1978, 1979.
Oh yeah, those were deals, man.
The reason that I had him going to an antique shop was to get records, is because growing up, that's what we did. We used to go look for records in the antique shop. So that smell that like you wrote Nana's basement, like mothballs almost. You wrote that in some of the dialogue there, but I thought it would be cool to bring him into one of those shops, because actually, like you said, Joel, I mean, when I was a kid in there, I was flustered. There's so much weird shit. And
yeah. And get yelled at by, whoever brought you into your first antique store. Don't touch anything. Don't look at anything. Don't breathe, because I can't afford to buy this stuff. Yep. And then you would hear smash.
The gnarly old antique store owner that looks weird too. He's got like his bowling league shirt on, right? So you got that guy. Yeah. They all look like that. They all look like a character,
Oh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Now, John, tell me about you getting into writing, and what made you want to actually do a comic.
So I've always wanted to write. My true passion is I want to write horror novels. So I always was approaching it as trying to be a novelist. Since I was a little kid. I mean, I was reading Stephen King when I was in like 7th, 8th grade. I read It, and I fell in love with horror books. And I used to write awful movie scripts, for film classes. I would write some short stories here and there. Even now, I still try to write some, and with the hopes of getting them published in something. But I started writing this as a novel after talking with my son one night. I asked him if he loved Christmas, and he told me he liked Halloween more because he liked to get scared. And it just popped in my head, because I'm always trying to think of story ideas. I popped in my head, how can I make Christmas scary in a way that hasn't been done and would be family friendly enough so that my kid could read it, but still attract adults, because we want a large target audience. So I started thinking of a kid getting lost at the North Pole. Initially, I had titled it Trapped at the North Pole, and then we expanded much more from there, the storyline. So it all started with the thought of trapping this kid at the North Pole, but on the outskirts where there's these creepy creatures in the woods that are lurking, and they want to get him and get the cube. It's known as the Kasi, that cube that he finds in the antique shop there. And I wanted an evil elf coming for it, and protagonist elf that would help him try to get away and get the Kasi to safety. That's where I had the outline in my head, and then Joel actually reached out to me because, like he mentioned, we worked together at our day jobs, and he knew I wanted to write. We were both into art. He reached out and asked if I would be interested in working on a comic with him, and I said absolutely. I pitched him this story, and we went with it. And since then, we've expanded this into such a bigger universe that it was absolutely 100% the right choice to turn this into a comic versus a novel.
Oh, yeah. Pop says he needs you on his show soon, too. Well, it's got to be soon because the campaign is over in 7 days.
Yeah, we're doing shows like 2 a night almost at this point. Like, we're doing a lot of stuff. So.
I love it.
I'm doing 7 this week.
I told my wife I won't see you till next week, and she's just in the other room. So,
well, I do Creators Outlet.
I can do that. I can be there, Pops.
That might have to be another solo, Pops, for Joel. My wife and I work opposite schedules, so I'm daddy duty until about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, which is why this worked out so wonderful. But
yeah, hit us up offline. I'll get on there.
Yeah.
I'll do
he's on our group too on Livid. So
I'm like a whore. Cool. I'll do anything.
This is their first campaign, so they could go on Poppin' with you and Piper too, which is actually later in the day. So
okay, yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the op. Appreciate it.
So, do you guys remember the first comic that you bought?
That's a good question. I'm going to say it was probably, for me, it's probably Transformers #2, and I got it at a local IGA store in town when I was probably about 7. Let's go there. Right? So, I missed issue 1 because I never have anything that's cool or worth anything, right? But actually, meet Shooter at a local con. He was the pit boss there for Marvel working on that. So I met him actually in April. So it was kind of cool. It was like weird to go back to the first show in a while, and then he's there. So, and then I have my daughter who's now the age I was. So she got to meet him too. We just picked up a signed poster from him. So kind of weird how life does that to you. Synchronicity and all, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I don't remember what my first comic was because we didn't have a comic shop where I grew up in northern New Hampshire. I got all my comic books at yard sales and flea markets, so it was all secondhand stuff. Obviously, none of it was graded or anything like that. I was a kid. I didn't even know what that meant. I remember Spider-Man being the first comic I fell in love with. And I told Joel this story. My fondest memory, I shouldn't say fond, my biggest memory I have from a comic as a kid is when I was in the grocery store and I picked up an X-Men issue. I don't remember what number it was. I just remember Storm on the cover, and I'm sitting there reading the book, and next thing I know, I look up, my mom's gone, and I was like, oh crap. And I was young. I was really young. I was freaking out. I was looking around the store for her. I had to go to customer service and have them flag her down to customer service, and she was pissed. And let's just say I did not get that comic book. She did not buy it for me. So now looking back, I'm like, no, I don't even remember which issue it was. I would have bought it because it would have been a cool story, but
why didn't give it to her for Mother's Day? You're like, remember this?
Right? Yeah, I should have been mad at her. Looking back, she's the one that left me in the aisle, right?
You weren't paying attention, young man.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh man, I would have to be like on my best behavior and get all my chores done. Kids, chores are things you used to have to do, like work,
right? Real chores.
And if you didn't do it, your next job was cutting a switch out the backyard because your ass was going to get whooped.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, I was outside until dinner time every day, whether I wanted to be or not. So
rain, snow, didn't matter. Get your ass outside.
Can't go to my friend's house until I do my chores, like you said. So, but my son, I have a 7-year-old son, which actually I named the main character after him. Not after you, to most people's thought there, but I named him after my son Will. And
Well, that was
but
very kind of you. We hadn't even met yet, but
yeah, right. My son loves doing chores. Actually, he wants to mow the lawn. He's terrible with it, but I still let him do a few passes every time just to get used to it. Once he's actually good at it, he'll say no. But he likes doing all the yard work and all that. And now his Nana and Pop Pop pay him when he does it for them, so he expects money from us now. Which I was like, damn it, that didn't last long. But,
it's like, no, Nana and Pop Pop spoil you, so when you come home, you get to feel what the real world is like.
right.
So I still have my very first comic. It was an issue, I think it was issue 421 of Detective Comics, with the Creeper kicking the living crap out of Batman.
That's awesome.
In Gotham Central Zoo. And of course, it just so happens that like all the tigers and lions were out of their cages. So,
right.
Awesome.
As they are, right?
As you know, as they would be on a Thursday evening. So, it's time to walk the kitty cats, and they are out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this thing just blew up for you guys.
Yeah, it was strange. We have a little bit of a backstory to it too. So we started doing this in probably December or January, and we kind of put it out there. Just I have a following from my fine art crowd, and I said, hey, I'm doing a comic book. I'm pausing on painting. I'm going into comic books for a while, and we said we're going to put together a collector's edition, and we put it out there and made it available for pre-sale. We were like 9 pages into this book, and we sold all 100 of the collector's edition before this Kickstarter campaign. So we were thinking nobody was going to come on the Kickstarter either, right? So we were like, well, let's see how it goes, right? And but we do have some, Kickstarter exclusive there they can't get from the collector edition too. So and actually a lot of people are doing both. So like,
Yeah.
super flattered and appreciative of that. So yeah, it's been great.
We've been blown away the whole time through this, with those backers, between the Joel's Fine Art fans, our friends and family. We sold out of that collector's within a month, and they're still waiting for it because there's been printing delays and all that. But they are awesome supporters, and like Joel said, we set the goal pretty low for this Kickstarter because we had no idea what to expect. We were thinking, when you read up on Kickstarter and what you need to do, a big portion of your sales are going to go to your friend's family, and we had already used them. We've already tapped them out, right? So we didn't know what to expect, and we hit goal in the first 6 hours. We were just like, we're sitting there hitting refresh on our phones, and we're like, are you kidding me right now? Like, this is awesome. But
this just struck a chord with just about everybody, because you funded in 6 hours. You've blown the goal out of the water, for your first book. And I mean, you guys have never done a comic before, and you've got background in writing, and Joel's got background in fine art. So Joel could be the next Scott Hanna. We don't know.
I'm sure you'd take that.
Because
I'll take anything. If I could just do more art, that's the goal, man.
That's it. Well, that's where Scott. I had Scott on the show like early in the first year that I was doing this, and he was trained in fine arts from a young age because his mother was a fine artist. All different mediums of painting and everything, which made all this comic stuff flow even better and made it easier. And he worked for Marvel in DC for like 30 plus years. So if you own a Batman or a Spider-Man comic anytime in like the last 30 years, Scott Hanna worked on it at some point. So it's just it's just crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, we used to make jokes with each other when we were first starting out. I mean, we were staying up to 1, 2 in the morning chatting on the phone. We were so excited to hit the ground running on this thing. But we used to make jokes that we'd have boxes left over sitting in our basement that would be given out for years for Christmas gifts.
Burning for warmth.
But
Yeah.
we said, who cares, right? We can say we did what we had a passion to do, and we got it printed and have it in our hands physically, right? So, and then obviously that didn't happen. We're going to be doing second and third runs of these prints that we have. So it's all happened so fast, and we're very grateful and humbled. So
You're afraid you're going to wake up at 3:00 in the morning and, an infomercial will be playing on the TV. But wait, that's more. You get a free copy of Yule.
Yeah.
yeah.
And there is the dreaded. It was only $1.
It was only $1. Yeah, we had to make it a reason why the kid could afford it and buy it too, right? So a little bit of that.
We got to keep in mind the shop owner has no idea what this thing is. This is just something that was sitting on his junk shelf, and it's been dormant for hundreds of years. So
a cube with like a little button on it.
it's a glass eyeball. Oh,
it's
sorry.
A glass eyeball. Oh,
yeah.
It's
Spoilers.
like a kaleidoscope, right? Something kind of deal.
Yeah. You look through it. And when I was writing it out, I had it pictured like he'd be looking through it like almost like a snow globe, but this little circle. When he held it up to his eye, he would see. Well, you'll see it on one of the pages, but he would see this strange forest and wonder what was going on and have these evil eyes staring back at him. So
it only worked for him too.
It's kind of like those Marvel Comics Hot Wheels that you could like look through the back window of the van and see a picture in it.
Yeah, maybe that's what inspired me from my childhood. I don't know.
And the shapes on it are sacred geometry. So that's what, if you're wondering what, like it's got a pyramid shape on the Kasi, like that's all sacred geometry and stuff. So that was kind of cool. I'm into that type of thing.
I failed geometry 3 years in a row.
I just use the images. I couldn't tell you much about them, but I think they're cool. So
they're just some fun shapes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I loved these panels in the video because it was just with the music. It was like bung bung bung, and I'm like, oh man, this kid's gonna die.
So this is him after he's teleported, and this is him arriving in what we call the realm. So this is it's a kind of a fictitious world that he's in between, because John had originally wanted him to go to the North Pole, but he also told me he wanted creatures in the woods. I said, well, how are there woods at the North Pole, John, right?
He goes, how are you going to explain woods in the Arctic? And I'm like, oh, crap. Yeah, well, we can alter my story a little bit here.
It's really it's like nowhere land right now is where he's kind of at in this scene.
Well, if you hadn't said anything, I wouldn't even have thought of it. I would have just kept reading.
Well, my kids would call me out on that too. Like, Dad, there's no trees at the North Pole. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah. My 13-year-old, if she was reading this, she'd be like, you don't see anything wrong? Really?
Yeah.
Give me the, and, I'd hear her rolling her eyes as she walked away.
The kids are very involved with it. My daughter's 8, so she does a lot of the modeling for Will, too. So she's very active in that. And I'll dress her up as Will and let her pose out and things. And it's pretty fun.
This, however, does not look fun.
I don't want to be 8 and run into that anywhere. I got scared when the possum walked by here the other night.
I was going to say, I don't want to be 52 and walk by that.
Yeah.
This was not until I installed the nitrous and the jet skis on my wheelchair.
Yeah.
These pages I could not wait for Joel to get to, because the chase scene was like one of the first things I wrote for this. And I just could picture it in my head like a movie, and I could not wait to see it on paper. And he blew away what I wanted. So, there's a few pages before this where the kid thinks he's in the clear and he pops out of the hollow tree, and here we are. So
I would have run so fast, you would have heard the racing stripe in my underwear.
So that's the variant cover for the Kickstarter. So that's the one you get on the Kickstarter variant issue, right? So that's only available through Kickstarter.
Okay.
25 and up, I believe we'll see here. That's so anyone that backs us 25 or higher gets that special Kickstarter cover.
Oh, cool. You guys doing overseas shipping?
Yep, we'll ship anywhere in the world. So even if we have to lose money on it, that's cool. No big deal.
Just to get the book out there.
You got it.
Yes.
And this tier would be good for the kids that refuse to pick up an actual form of medium besides an iPad.
You have to offer it now, but
Yeah.
I
You know,
don't know.
except when their father's using it to be on a stream.
Yeah, Joel.
Yeah.
That was a jab at you.
I know.
He heard that.
I heard it. They don't touch this thing. They know better.
So there's something to say though, right, about like just having the physical book in your hand. And Joel and I, we want to do this for every single Livid comic. So the hope is that we continue to make money so we can, but we have it on really thick, nice paper, better than industry standard. It's so to have it digitally is great, but just, when he sent me the PDF of the comic, I was pretty excited. But when he got these shipped to his house, I was like, I'm driving to your house now. You're 45 minutes away. I wanted this thing in my hand, and it just feels so nice. So,
Yeah, that's the big thing too with indie books, because the print runs are so much smaller, obviously, than even a small press publisher would do. So it's going to cost you, X amount of times more to print the book. So you figure you might as well go up for the superior cardstock on the cover, better paper inside, and better quality overall. So these books all look better than anything that any of the publishers are putting out.
right.
Yeah, that's it. We have a little higher retail price than most, like a DC book or an Image book, but we figure we can get that price if we provide you that quality. Quality always sells, right? So if you feel like you're getting that in value, that's exactly what we wanted to offer.
Yeah, like I complain about everything. So it's just my nature. If there's an open spot, I will bitch about something.
Well, you're a New Englander, so that's what
I was going to say that.
Yeah, it's what we do.
Right.
I got mad when they filled the pothole. I mean, that's where I went fishing.
I think that missing Malaysian plane landed in one. I think that's where it went.
I sold it for scrap. But I mean, I'll go into I've worked on and off for years and years at my main LCS. Like I patronize, a few other stores. And, if I go to a store for like an event, even if it's free, I make sure I buy something there.
Right.
Being the comic nerd I am, I will always find something to buy. Usually if they got some nice wall books, I'll probably find an issue I don't have to fill a spot in my collection. It gives me a chance to open up my CLZ app and just scan in a new book and be, ooh. But it's, it's crazy. There's so many stores now that are supporting, indie comics that, that things are looking up. I know, Varian Grant over at Indie Volt, he's got about 100 stores online right now that are taking books. I know the Collective in Central Florida, they support tons and tons of indie creators. If they think there's a market for a book and that the story and stuff will resonate with their huge audience, they'll go in. I know some creators that they've ordered off them 3 or 4 times for their first book, because
Wow.
it would sell out. Like one book I know of, 47 Furious Tales, sold out the first weekend they had it on the shelf.
Wow, that's awesome.
Just crazy, yeah.
Yeah, we've talked with Varian. We were on Indie Volt last week. So
I know.
oh,
I was one of the smart ass people in the live chat.
That's right. Actually, you did say something. Yeah, that rings a bell.
He was prepared for our nonsense, John. He did some research ahead of time. So
Yeah.
yeah. To your point, Will, that's it's really important. A lot of these, up here, especially like New Hampshire, man, like we don't have like a lot of the LCS doesn't carry a lot of indie stuff, and I go there looking for it, right? Because I want to support other indie writers and indie artists and stuff. And that was even back in the days when I was in the band. I would go to specific music stores that just had local stuff, and because like the big chains didn't have it, and I'm looking for it. And I would spend more money getting the things that were mainstream at these indie record stores because they had the indie bands that I was looking for also. So I was buying both. So in many ways, it can be beneficial for them to carry indie comics to get people in to also buy the mainstream titles as well. So that's something you really need to consider and start thinking about, because there's definitely a huge market for that right now.
Yeah, and people are dropping, DC and Marvel books, like a hot potato, or dare I say, like DC is dropping employees,
being canceled. Right, we talked about that. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, can't cancel.
Yeah, they didn't have Batman. I mean, they didn't have Batman, man. Ooh, boy.
Oh, if they didn't have Batman, they'd be donezo.
And they're gonna be canning a whole bunch of more people because they went from AT&T to now being owned by Discover.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
I'm like, a credit card company bought you.
Right. Yeah.
How the mighty have fallen.
I think they need some more like human interest stories. Although I did pick up Nice House on the Lake this week, DC Black Label.
Yeah, that's good.
It's
the Black Label stuff, all the Black Label stuff, so much better than the other stuff they're putting around.
Anything else they put out? Yeah.
Yeah.
People like the human interest stories right now. That's a big thing. We talk about that because we all became a human interest story, right? Over the last year and a half, we got thrusted into a situation that none of us were prepared for or wanted to deal with, yet here we are dealing with it, right? So we can relate to those type of stories, I think, now more than ever.
Yeah, very much so, Rios.
Yeah.
It's because what I was getting at is I'd go to my LCS and I'd go and pick up books, and I would look around, and I would spend like a good 20 minutes bitching about the cover price of these Marvel and DC books. Just to turn around and go online and spend $25 on an indie comic.
Right.
But it's like, I'm surprised there's not more of the speculators diving into the indie comics, for the fact that their big thing is it either has to be a newsstand variant or it has to be a limited print run. Well, everything in indie comics is a limited friggin' print run.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. It's however many they sell on the campaign, it's how many they have. And I know with the conventions coming back, I know people order like a lot of creators order like a certain percentage over, so they have some stock to bring with them to whatever local shows or one big show that they're going to do that year. You guys planning on any convention appearances?
Yep.
Store appearances, obviously out of New Hampshire.
Well, we have Granite State Con in Manchester, September 18th and 19th, I believe, are the 2 dates, and we got a table there for that. We'd love to get to more, but the thing is we wanted to go to a con where we had multiple titles on the table. We didn't want just Yule 1, the hope was that by September we'll have Yule 1, Yule 2, and then issue 1 of Deadball, the other series we're working on the table. And Joel and I have talked about doing a little wholesale stuff, getting some other indie comics on the table from other areas of the country. We've been talking to some different indie creators from around the US to get their stuff up here. But we have that show. I think it would be wonderful to get down to the Boston show. But we would love to get into the comic shops too, the LCSs, and do some signings, some bookstores around here. We've talked to, so it's still a lot of moving parts, but that is definitely the intention. We got the one con locked up. We want to do more. We definitely want to do some store stuff here once we have the physical copies. So
I know my LCS does a huge thing for Halloween. They do free comic book day. This year they pushed theirs back to next month. But in Halloween they do the not Oktoberfest, the Halloween Fest. They do Halloween Fest, and it's taken to a different level there because the owner's son, who is now almost 19, has loved nothing but Halloween since he was like 5.
Is my son from the future? Did he travel with the Kasi?
You walk into this shop and half of the shop are animatronic and full set props from Spirit Halloween.
Oh man.
He works 2 part-time jobs every year. One is for Spirit Halloween. This year he can actually work full-time. So he's getting a little past excited. And then he gets all dressed up and goes and works like one of the horror attractions at night.
Oh man. You're talking about my son in the future. This is creepy.
And he spends all his money on Halloween props.
Oh man. If to tell you everything you're saying to me right now is just, it's hilarious because I'm in my office in my basement. On the other side of me, well, I'm not going to show the camera because there's a lot of clutter too, but
if you want clutter, you can just look behind me.
my basement, my shed out back, Halloween animatronics make up way too much space at my house. And my son, his biggest gift for Christmas every year, he asks for an animatronic. So he sets them. There was people driving by on Christmas where he's set his smoke machine up with his zombie animatronic in my driveway, driving by on Christmas, and I'm just like, don't ask. This is Will. He wants to work at I think he wants to build the sets, not even necessarily be one of the people that scares. He wants to construct the whole like horror.
Oh, he does this too. He's there is about a 2 by 4 foot span in his bedroom where his bed is that is not 100% covered by Halloween stuff. But keep in mind, it's suspended over his bed. It's all around him, and for like the last 8 years, his dad's been teaching him how to repair these things.
Oh, that's awesome.
He goes, "You are not buying another one of those. You already have one. Mine's not working. What's wrong with it? Okay, we're going to take it apart, and I'm going to show you how to fix it."
I'm guessing also, like my son, then he probably watches all the YouTube videos, the unboxing of the Spirit animatronics, how to put them together. Even though my son doesn't have these animatronics, he knows how to put them all together. I'm like, man, like, what are you doing?
Like I needed to feel worse about myself that my friend's 18-year-old son has like well over 6,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. And I'm battling to get a lousy 300.
It's tough on YouTube, man. You can't do like follow for follow on their stuff. So that's a tough.
Oh no, you can't. And then YouTube just goes around and they like unsubscribe like thousands of people a day on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, they want 1,000 to go live. I mean, that's a lot of people, man. I could see 100, sure, but 1,000.
You need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watched hours of content on your channel.
Yeah, we've been battling algorithms and everything just to get this campaign promoted, and that's challenging too. I read a couple weeks ago that only 5.2% of people see anything that you post online, and we're not about to pay those guys. We paid them a very short dollar campaign just to see what would happen, and nothing happened. We're like, this is just a total waste of time.
No, none of their ads do anything.
Yeah.
Right. And lucky for you, the 5.2% of the people that saw yours all emptied their wallets into the campaign.
Yeah, right. So, yep.
We've been pretty aggressive. We
Yeah,
we
4,000
don't stop.
hours have to be watched in a year.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So
I think I'm about 4,000 minutes. People are like, oh, it's this guy again. We're bored with him. Let's go. And nobody has an attention span anymore because everything's instantaneous.
Exactly. Yeah, they say if you don't hook somebody in the first 15 seconds with your video, you're out, right? So they move on to the next. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just crazy.
So Rogério is actually going to be working with us on Deadball. So he's watching the show in Brazil. So he's our artist for Deadball. So he's been crashing here tonight with us too.
Oh yeah, I know Rios.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course he did Heel Turn too. So
yeah.
Right.
Yep.
He actually subscribed to my channel.
There you go. Well, you're going to get at least 2 more from John and I tonight. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hey, indie supporting indie, right? We want to, the people that are helping us out, we want to help out too. So it seems kind of, we've had people that had us on their show and they're like, hey, do you mind sharing the show? No one ever does that. And we're like, why would they not share it? What's the point in going on if you're not going to promote your own interview? So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know. I try to give, send out like the YouTube link because I shared out and Pop shared out. I shared out to his channel, my podcast channel on Facebook. I'm content delivery manager for Outright Geekery, so I share all my podcasts go there because they've got like almost 24,000 followers.
So you would think with 24,000, at least 1,000 would like your channel, right? Get you hooked up.
If all my channel did was post memes, yeah.
Right?
I'm like, we only want to see memes, and then we want to go back and rewatch Loki again because we saw the frog in the trash can.
Or have a nude variant. You could do that because those are always hugely popular, right?
Yeah. I'm like, it's like everybody wants the naughty covers. I go, don't you like the naughty covers? I love the naughty covers. I have a teenage daughter. I can't buy the naughty covers.
Yeah, right.
That's what Joel was saying about drawing them. It's like, I don't want my daughter's coming around watching me draw this stuff.
It's not even that. It's, do you not realize adult entertainment is free on the internet?
That's what John says. Yeah, John's like, Pornhub's free now. Right? So,
yeah. Like, they're paying for animated, boobs, and it's like, you don't have to have monthly subscriptions anymore. Like, you don't have to watch through Scramble Vision.
Oh man, you must have one arm way stronger than the other, John. You just brought back a memory from 15-year-old me. Oh, yeah. Preview. If I wait, I might see a flicker of something, and
trying to hide the tapes in your room, and your mom wouldn't find them, right? You're trying to bury them. Your mom always found them. She always found them, right? So.
Worse, when you accidentally tape one of the ones you brought home over a movie that your mother likes by accident, and
yeah.
Or even worse, a friend of mine rented one, said, my parents don't care if I watch these. And it got stuck in his parent. It got jammed in his parents' VCR.
Yeah. And then we used to put the piece of tape over the VHS, that little square you can pick out, right? You put the tape over it so you can record over, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like you break the tab, and then if you need to get rid of that, you tape over it. But hey, there's nothing worse than, you being like, the game's on. I got to tape the game because I got to go to work. And then you find out that you used the tape that your wedding video was on.
Yeah. The kids don't know the struggles these days, right?
No, they have it so easy.
John, there's a horror book you could write right there. It'd be a one shot because he would be dead by the end. But
right.
This pledge without a reward $10 tier always cracks me up because the first person I interviewed for for a crowdfunder was Graham Nolan, the co-creator of Bane for DC, and he was just putting out his indie book, The Chenoo, and he actually somehow changed this, where instead of saying pledge without a reward, it said buy Graham a beer, $10. And a couple of hundred people bought him a $10 beer. So
Awesome.
I'm figuring it had to be Guinness and include a tip for the bartender.
Right?
There you go. Or it could be a beer at Fenway. That's plausible too, like a half a beer.
Yeah.
Well, the cup is $10 and the beer is $13.95.
Yeah, there you go.
Why? Well, because we want to keep, alcohol consumption down. I'm like, well, that's why we all drink outside.
That's right. Yeah, we used to get two steel reserves and drink them in the parking lot before we'd head in. That was the move.
Yeah. It's cheaper to go to a restaurant across from Fenway than it is to buy, a $30 sausage and onion sandwich on the outside.
Yeah.
So tier 3, this is the Kickstarter exclusive cover, stickers, and a limited edition trading card.
Yeah, there's the sticker right there. I'm holding it up on the screen for you. So the holographic sticker, right? It's pretty cool. There you go.
Shiny.
Little effect to it. It's the die cut. Yep.
Oh, that's nice.
Good size, not ridiculous. Sometimes you get these stickers, man, they're like half the size of your hood. It's like don't want anything too big. So it's a good size.
I love how we were able to fit both logos, the Livid logo and the Yule logo, in the sticker and still have it not be massive. So
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. Trading cards are coming back. They're getting very popular again. It's the 90s all over again.
That's it. I used to buy the Marvel cards, right, with the hologram. That was awesome.
I just sold mine for like $100.
Yeah, they got hot. Some people were saying, what were they calling it? Like, I forget who the character was, but like, oh, it's his rookie card. They're spinning it as that angle. Like, you got to have it because it's his rookie card.
It was some speculator that probably had about 3 cases of those still sitting in his basement, wondering what he could do. So he just made up an internet rumor on the speculator page that he so runs, and all of a sudden they just blew up.
Yeah.
It's like, let's see if this works. It worked.
Yeah.
So what you do? I go, well, I got $100 and I backed 3 more indie campaigns. So
I like to say in the 90s, the holograms were like, even when they were newer, like you get them at the store for like $5 a piece. So when you opened up a pack, you got the hologram. You're pretty pumped because $5 in the 90s was like $50 now. So
oh yeah,
yeah.
I had all the holograms except for the what was it, Spider-Man versus Hobgoblin or Green Goblin?
Yes. Yep.
That was the only. I didn't have the versus one. I had the other 4, and apparently all anybody cared about was the Wolverine hologram.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care. I still have the Wolverine hologram on issue 25 where Magneto ripped his adamantium off. So it's like it was all good stuff back then.
Yeah.
So the $50 one is the Kickstarter exclusive cover. Oh, and the poster.
Yep.
that's the poster right behind me here. That's the poster that they'd be getting.
16 by 20. It's hard to tell by John's size there.
Yeah, it's pretty far back. So
wow, you're huge, dude.
Yeah.
That's cool. A poster of the exclusive Kickstarter cover.
Yeah. We'll sign those too. They come signed, whatever. That's okay.
Cool.
Hook you up.
Signed is good. $100, all of the above, plus a Libid t-shirt and baseball hat.
Yeah, trucker cap, right? That's a breaker 19. Get your Libid cap, right? So
yeah,
right. When you're rolling down I-90 in your big rig, you want people to know you're Libid. So that's why we got that.
Man, I'm in a wheelchair and people already know I'm Libid. Why are you Libid? Oh, because every pretty girl, I tell them, hey, save on gas, ride the handicap, and I get smacked right across the face every time. An original signed sketch from Joel and everything. Wow. What's the? It's obviously a pencil sketch, and what's the size of the sketch, Joel?
Those are going to be either 8.5 by 11 or maybe 11 by 14. I have a bunch of stuff that I did working on this book. Just trying to come up with what the heck does Will look like? What do the smoke dragons look like? Right. So I got books and books of this stuff. So I figured, I'll just tear off a page and send it out. So depending on which sketch pad it happened to be in, minimum of 8 by 11. But yeah, that'll go out to you too. So, if the thing ever hit big, right, and it might be cool to have something original. I'm a big Golden Age horror fan. Like, man, I'm looking for something by Jack Davis right now. I'd love to find original Jack Davis. So if I could hop on something like that back in the day, I would have been loving it. So that's kind of what that's all about.
So you're giving away people that get this tier could more than likely be getting concept sketches from your very first comic. So if you hit, you hit Scott Hanna status, somebody could be sitting on a bunch of cash.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to speculate on something, I would speculate on that.
Yeah, that's cool. I was at the show in April up here in Concord, and the guy had a table full of Jack Kirby stuff, and I mean just book after book of the stuff, and it's like, man, how the hell did you get that? Did you rob his house or something? And I mean, just a sketch like that was like $4,500. So it was crazy,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was years ago, he used to come into the club. I used to be friends with a comic book art dealer. And the stuff he was in possession of, just, he wouldn't come within 5 feet of me because as soon as I looked, I just started drooling out the corner of my mouth,
Right.
He knew I was a big Jim Aparo fan because I grew up, my favorite Batman book when I was a kid was Brave and the Bold because it was always Batman and another person that you might not see as often, right? So it was cool. It was a great team up book and good stuff. But I liked him on the horror stuff, on Spectre and all the mystical titles that were back in the day, Dead Man and all that. And so he brought in an original cover. It still had the yellowing tape up of the
I love it.
logo and the words and everything for cover of Strange Adventures with Phantom Stranger on the cover.
Wow.
A huge image, like a bust of Phantom Stranger on the front cover. And I go, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's incredible that stuff still survives. It's mind blowing. I love the IDW Artist Edition books they're putting out. Those damn things are going to bankrupt me. I got the Jim Lee one.
You get so many of those things.
Yeah, most of the EC ones, I got all those. Just phenomenal stuff. The one of the Wally Wood cover just sold at auction for $840,000 for an original Wally Wood cover. Just phenomenal. $840,000. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. This guy also had original Jack Kirby stuff.
Yeah. I guess Jack would just give it away though. If you came to his house, he'd be like, "Here, have some art," and just throw it at you.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. His wife would make you lunch, and he'd throw art at you if you just stopped by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because Jack worked for both Marvel and DC, and he designed the whole Superpowers line. He did all those comics, and he designed the original piece to show, the Hasbro board of what they wanted to do, with a cartoon and this, that, and the other thing. And this guy had the original black and white Jack Kirby piece that was, I don't know, 3 feet high by 6 feet wide.
Jeez.
And I'm like, oh. I go, dude, I hate you. Go away. He goes, I got you in here for free. I go, yeah, to, stick my nose in the dog poo, but, what the hell?
Right.
Oh, now we're getting into good stuff here.
Yeah.
An original page signed on comic book Bristol board. Everything signed.
Yep.
But an original page out of the book.
Yep.
How many pages are you set to give away on this?
So the book's 22 that are illustrated, and we have our covers and things. So I guess it'd be 22 on that one, right? So one of each, done.
That's big right there. That's you guys just buying. So for $500, you're going to buy an original page of original art, and they're just going to give you all the rest of the stuff for free.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's how you got to look at it.
Yeah.
Appear in an upcoming issue where you will be killed?
You could be. It depends on how John writes it, right? So we were talking this through.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you back these types of reward tiers on Kickstarter, you're in the background or whatever. We're like, man, I don't think we're going to set any limitation to this. So you could become a sub character, appear in multiple panels, multiple pages, maybe multiple issues. It really depends on where John sticks you and who you are. And maybe you'll get your own spin-off. Who knows, right? I don't know where it's going to go. So it could be a big thing, right?
Yeah.
It really could.
You never can tell. I know the one of the guys from the Morning Roast show, Sugar Chris, he likes getting put in books and killed.
John, you might have to do that. So we'd have to talk to whoever picks up that tier. We have to see what they want to do. So
Yeah.
Zombie versions of you, right? You can do that, right? So Will can meet everybody. Will in the book, he time travels, goes through different dimensions. You can say, hey man, I want to see myself as some type of a lizard monster. Great, we'll do it. So whatever you want. Right? So
as he's time traveling, and you can take the person that takes this tier, and they could be getting killed in different ways, like in every issue going forward.
Or maybe he saves them, or he causes something to make them actually get killed because he's a kid and stupid. So that could be too.
Well, that's part of the story. Is he needs to figure this device out. He's going to make some mistakes up front, so you never know. But
he may accidentally get you killed by an 8-year-old boy. So that's
right.
possible.
All right. What we can promise is, if they're putting this much money on the table for something like this, we're not going to put them in the background of a panel, right? It's obviously going to make it worth their while. So
yeah. Be super cool.
In stretch goals, because this is what we're going to now, right?
Yeah.
So the 1500 one is already unlocked. Ooh, a patch.
Iron-on too. None of that sewing nonsense, because I suck at sewing, and probably the rest of the world does too. So, right. So, yeah, we upgraded to the iron-on. So we went crazy.
It's still a patch. Patches are always popular.
Yeah. We used to do that, man. We had the denim jackets, right, back in high school, loaded with stuff. Right?
Yeah.
My dad had I remember the old hat with all the little patches all over it and like pins and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Vietnam War era, what was that the jacket that they wear? That was the shit when I was in high school. We would have those with all the band patches on them. The denim jacket was a little out. We moved into the Vietnam War era military coat.
Yeah, we go to the used military store there and try to find a coat in our size. You could put all kinds of cool patches on it, and you could buy like patches like right there at the counter for 50 cents, $1 a piece, whatever. And you have to ask your grandfather which goes where, and then you would realize there is a pocket inside of these that kind of stays hidden where you can sneak in bottles of whiskey to school.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I allegedly got expelled for selling shots of whiskey at school. I was the entrepreneur that was, and I had choices. You could get SoCo or Jack.
Right.
Wow.
Do you want left breast or right breast? What pocket do you want?
You know. And this, the Livid Comics ghostly white yo-yo.
Yeah, the kids are very excited about this. My girls saw me mocking that up, and they're like, "Are you doing yo-yos?" And I'm like, "Yes, we are." So they're counting the days till the yo-yo comes. My younger daughter teased my oldest today and said, "Dad's getting the yo-yos today," and I'm like, "No, they're coming in towards the end of the month." But she's like, so she was yelling at her sister about it. She's that excited about it. So
Did you ask her if she was backing us? Or...
yeah, right.
No.
Spending my money back in us, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. No.
Dad's going to get you a green dot card, and you're going to have to buy the book with the tier that you get the yo-yo with.
All right.
Yeah, make her work it off. You know, get out there and mow the lawn.
The thing with this book and this series is that our target audience is really, Joel's made the reference, anywhere from 7 years old up to 80. We have a wide target audience, so we got to have stuff that's going to please everybody. And
I am not 80.
Well, you're still within 7 to 80, so you're in the target.
Yeah, you still fit the range. Yeah, but
I'm in there somewhere.
The kids, my son too. They know every kid we mentioned the yo-yo to, they want it. So hopefully it's a hit.
Yeah, we'll like having that. We'll have some extras at the Comic Con too. Might hook some kids up. We're really, really big on getting kids excited and involved. That's a big thing. One thing I did today is we started. If you send us your address, your kid, I'll write you a letter and draw you a sketch and send it to you. Because that was big when I was a kid. I was actually a big New England Comics Ben Endlin fan with the Tick, and I'd write to them,
yeah.
and he'd write me back and send me stuff, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing ever." And even Kevin Eastman, Peter Liard were just down the road here at Turtles, right? When I was 7, 8 years old, just fanboy geeking out, like, man, I really like your stuff. I'd send them a letter, and they do the same thing. They'd send back a little sketch. I don't know where the hell it went. I've moved 19 times since then. Just the course of life, unfortunately, has lost that stuff. But I used to have original little notes from them, and so I want to do the same thing for the kids. So that's something John and I started doing now. Is somebody wants to just message us their address, we'll write their kid a little thing and send it off to them, a little sketch or something. That's big for us.
Cool.
Yeah.
My daughter's name is Will, and she. So I was always bad with yo-yos as a kid, like doing the tricks and everything.
Yeah, I could do a couple moves. I like the butterfly Duncan because you could kind of cheat a little bit with that one because you could catch that slot. Yeah, that was the move.
And it had cool colors on it.
That's right. Yeah, the light up one. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really bad with it until I found out that the yo-yo is a toy now, but used to be a weapon in ancient times. I'm like, used to be a weapon?
Yeah.
I would spend like 3 hours a day, like before bed, practicing with my yo-yo, setting up my old Mego figures and G.I. Joes as targets. I was like, I need to get good enough so when the next kid starts pushing me around on the way to school, I could just take my yo-yo out and
whack.
Right.
Do stuff that I can't say on YouTube because
sit down.
We
used to have those two. Remember the two plastic balls that were on the string with the little thing in the middle, right?
Oh yeah, the clackers. Yeah.
And you'd break your wrist with that, right?
Yeah, my mother had one of the old ones that, if you threw it like a bolero, you would literally kill somebody.
Oh yeah. Or you go to the fair and the guy would be selling authentic Chinese throwing stars. You had to buy those when you were 9 too, right? So, the knife guy at the fair.
Nope, I got kicked out of shop class because every time we had metal shop, one of us would always make throwing stars and get caught and get kicked out of shop, be banned from shop class. And, the rest of us all thought that, well, he was stupid. I can get away with it.
Allegedly, we were smoking weed out back by the vent in shop class, and allegedly we got kicked out for that. So, allegedly.
I got kicked out of mechanical drawing. I didn't understand something, so I would ask the teacher, and he would yell and scream at me and called me retarded. So one day I skipped school, and he left the top down on his convertible, and I threw about 20 packets of opened up Jell-O into his car and took the hose from the janitor from the school parking lot. I put it in there, tied it off, turned it on full blast, and walked away. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I got to preface everything. Right.
Oh, man.
So this is cool.
Yeah, so this is also the image that's going to be on the trade card, too. But I'll let Joel talk about this, but this is one of my favorite things he's done, this whole time. So I love this.
Yeah, that's my homage to Drew Struzan there. So this has some of the characters that we're going to meet in issue 2. So it has the main antagonist, Ragnar. He's the dark black elf guy there to Will's, I guess, our left if we're looking at it, above the female elf. So he's the main villain. So the other characters are kind of his henchmen, other than Vega. She's sitting on the Yule logo. She's a friend of Einar, who's the good elf, who's right above the Kasi holding his axe blade there. So there's some creatures that are involved that Ragnar has found through time and space. Some of them are aliens, some of them are, I don't know, demonic, I guess, and some of them are just from different experiences in world history. They showed up and history went a little differently. So you're going to meet those guys in the next few issues here coming up. So kind of a segue into that too. So we don't see them in issue 1, but you'll see them in issue 2.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a spoiler. You see a lot of the characters from issue 2 here, because really issue 1, it's Will and Einar, the good elf there above the Kasi. So, and then obviously the smoke dragons there up to the top left.
Don't think of it as a spoiler. Think of it as a preview.
A teaser. Yeah.
So that's the air freshener, and it's black ice, of course. Black like our soul, icy like our hearts, right? So everybody loves black ice.
Oh yeah, especially in New England.
That's it.
Now this one right here, this is what we've been trying to get to here for a few days. We're so close to this cover variant. So
shut up, you.
Somebody wants you.
Oh.
So that's
shut up my tablet.
I wanted to do a horizontal cover. I don't think we see enough of those, and it's just something different. So I want to do a horizontal cover. So I did. There it is.
And you wanted. Oh. It's got to be my daughter's mother. I thought you'd be done by now. I need somebody to talk to. Yeah, so do I.
Tell her to come on the show. Put her on.
Oh, no. I have her blocked on everything. Are you crazy? If I get really pissed at her, I actually block her on my phone for like up to a month. So yeah, I like the Timeless Terra little homage to EC going on.
You got it. Yeah, and part of that too is when they're fanned out on the shelf at the LCS, right? So I go there and the titles are all kind of stacked and fanned out. And I don't know what the heck these things are about without, picking each and every one up and flipping through and say, okay, that's a horror book. Okay, that's a traditional superhero book. So this way, when they're fanned out on the shelf, you can go, all right, I'm looking for a horror title. Well, boom, I can see it right there. Okay, it's a horror book. And when you look at some of that old EC stuff, it's like that intentionally, because when they were in the wire racks or on the shelf, that top box that was on the EC comic, that was all that was showing. Tales from the Crypt, whatever, that's all you could see. So you knew exactly what it was. So that's why it had a little bit of marketing component to it too.
Yeah. Usually if I see like an EC homage cover,
yeah,
I buy it.
Me too.
I don't even care if it's like a friggin' My Little Pony book.
Right? Yeah.
I'll buy it, and my daughter will be like, "Oh, that's for me." I don't even read those anymore.
Yeah,
You go,
right.
"No, it's for me," and then she'll make fun of me and call me a brony, but I won't care because it's got the EC cover.
That's right. Yeah, they got the beer they're making too is Pale from the Crypt. There's the beer that's coming out. I think they're called Liquid Gravity is making that. You can't get it up here yet. So, but the cans are fantastic. So they got the same look to the classic EC titles and things on each one of their beers, and I'm gonna buy them just to have the cans around. I won't drink them either. I might buy one of the drinks.
Yeah, you gotta test it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to buy two 6-packs. You drink one, and then you just put the others up for display and make sure they don't fall off the shelf.
Right. Exactly.
Add-ons. So what do you got? Is everything we've looked at available as an add-on?
It should be, I believe. Right. If it isn't, if it's not yet, it will be. So.
Yeah. If it's not, it's just because we didn't get it in there properly. But yeah, every physical thing should be available.
And in big, bold print. Shipping fees are not included in your pre-order.
Yeah.
Gotta
So I
let
want to
people
ship
know.
at cost. We're not UPS, we're not FedEx, right? We're not trying to make money on shipping. So whatever it is, it is, right?
Well, yeah, and you even went above and beyond to like show the chart of what each region, like what it should cost, so people know we're not, trying to make money on the shipping itself. It's really just when you're shipping out all these rewards, especially the bigger stuff, you're going to lose money on your campaign if you want to offer any larger cool rewards. So
United States, Alaska and Hawaii, Africa, Middle East, Asia. Australia will cost you your firstborn. Canada, just move out of there.
I'd like to see somebody in Africa back this. That would be pretty rad, actually.
Yeah.
Right? I'd be into that.
We've had a couple UK people, right? But I think that's the only other country. Or
I don't even know if China would let us in. We'd probably be like some threat to the communist regime or something. If they'd let us get in there, but I'd take a shot. I'll send it. I don't know if it'll arrive, but I'll try.
So right there tells me that nobody that works for Nike will be buying this then. Because Nike is China.
Yeah.
Europe. Yeah, we know lots and lots of UK people. Like, I was just doing 3 episodes a week, and now I'm doing up to 6 because there's so many overseas people.
Yep.
And I'm like, they're like anywhere from like 5 to 9 hours ahead of us.
Right.
Lucky them living in the future.
Right.
They know all the stupid crap I did already before I did it. And so I'll go live at like 1 in the afternoon. So if it's if they're in the UK, like say, London or Wales, 1 o'clock for us is like 6 o'clock for them.
Right.
So, make it a decent time so their people can see it and everything. And I'm like, and it gives me extra shows, but now I'm on with you tonight. I have 2 tomorrow. I have an art show that goes on every Wednesday at 11 at night. Then this week, our Thursday stream is postponed to the weekend, which is me and another guy from Outright Geekery. We do a show called OK Boomer, the podcast. Yeah. And we talk about old back issues, gold and silver and bronze age stuff.
Oh, perfect. That's
we
awesome.
pick like a different book like every week. This week we're doing the first issue of the original Sandman run.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
John's
a big Neil Gaiman fan too, right? So
I used to be.
Yeah.
Until, all his stuff came to fruition with, here are all the people that are reading parts in the book reading, and here are all their pronouns. I'm like, I'm done.
I'm reading the Lock and Key Sandman crossover right now because we're big Joe Hill fans too, and the Lock and Key series was phenomenal. So yeah, and I did a brief stint at a shop here, Exeter, New Hampshire. I was teaching kids art there, and Joe Hill would actually come in. So I met him a couple of times. He's a cool dude, so it was nice. You come in, talk with the kids, sign stuff and things, and we're big Joe Hill fans, so we love that stuff.
Yeah, he's done some really great stuff. So.
Oh yeah, I wish I had gotten the draw of the Lock and Key series because my mind just goes reading that. It's like, this is great. You know, what would I have done here? You know, then you look at Gabriel Rodriguez's work and you're just like, yeah, that beats what I would have done. So right? That guy's like a magician. He just slays that book.
And this is what John looks like without a hat.
No, not right now. No, this is pre-COVID, before I was stuck at home for a year with my kids. My hair's getting a little thinner now. So
after an hour of homeschooling, did you just grab the bottle of whiskey? Everybody's graduated.
Yeah, right? Pretty much.
Again, this is my homage to EC, right? Like the old witch, right? The Crypt Keeper.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah.
And instead of a Crypt Keeper, it's you with a mullet.
I just haven't cut my hair for like 18 months since the COVID shit happened. I'm like, I'm not dealing with that stuff out in the world, man. I'm just going to stay home. I'm out in the country out here, and I don't like going to the city, and nobody sees me, so what the hell, right? So
the only people that are going to see me are wild animals. So
yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
that's all I care about, and just let me know if a possum comes up behind me. That's all.
And it works good to keep the black flies off the back of your neck. It's fabulous for that, I will say. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I don't even want to know what I'd look like if I.
So I mean, this is a fantastic looking book. It's a great idea. It's cool that it's an all ages book that looks like a book that guys my age or your age or teenagers would read, and it's just a cool idea.
Yeah, we wanted it simple enough for kids to be able to read and get involved with it. But if mom and dad are reading it to them, we want it to be compelling enough to keep mom and dad's attention also. John and I are at that age to read the books with the kids, right? And the kids have always, they always throw terrible titles at you, and you have to suffer through that. So well, let's do the parents a solid, right? And write them something that they can at least be interested in too. So John can talk this, but he's always used the analogy. It's kind of like a Harry Potter kind of level, right?
Mm-hmm. So, and when I use that reference too, it's not like the kid's a wizard or anything, but it's more if you read or watch Harry Potter, there's a lot of scary scenes, for younger kids, but it's still family friendly enough that they're gonna watch it. They just might get creeped out by some of these scenes, and that was kind of the mindset when I was trying to write it. Is I want it to creep my son out. He loves being creeped out, but I don't want him to have nightmares about a limb getting ripped off. It's not going to be gore and profanity or anything. So, so that was the thought. I mean, and I remember I've said this joke a few times with Joel. There was a few times where I wanted to write in having Santa Claus getting killed off by the evil elf just to make him that evil, and in my head it seemed like the best idea in the world. And I think Joel was probably reading those texts like, what the hell is he on right now? Like, you can't kill Santa Claus. Especially, I mean, you can't, if you're trying to target kids as part of your target audience, I think you might have some nasty emails from parents.
They're gonna stop following you so they can go see you at a convention to kick you in the shins or something.
Right. But that was just a lapse in judgment. It's you won't see that.
And more importantly, you can't kill Santa until your kids are older.
Right. Yeah. So they'll still be. I mean, he's still going to be getting into trouble in there. Don't get me wrong, but it's not going to end with Santa's head rolling on the ground.
And, we do see Santa, and he gets roughed up some. We'll leave it at that, right? So
yeah,
he has a bad way in the book. So.
I mean, you saw that evil out the villain. He's not a nice character. So
no, not at all. And the dragon thingies are No.
So there's a really cool backstory that I can't wait to write into a future issue for the evil elf, and he's half elf, so he's not a full elf, so he's not going to be short like Einar, the protagonist elf. But and those smoke creatures, we call them the keepers of the realm. They work with Ragnar, the evil elf. So there's a whole backstory to that.
Everybody's beholden to him in some kind of a way for some kind of reason. So, yeah, he's good at manipulating who he needs to manipulate to get them to work for him, because he can't be in all dimensions and all time and all space at the same time. So he has to call on these creatures to help him.
Yeah, and we wanted a lot of like folklore type stuff in there. So I was reading a lot of Icelandic folklore and Norwegian stuff, and reading some black magic stuff, and I just got some really cool ideas for him to use in future issues, and it's I can't wait till he's in the books more regularly. But again, back to a Harry Potter reference, if Voldemort is this nasty villain, but you don't even see him for a while. He's just talked about, and you might see like a flashback with him for a second, but like he's not even in. I don't even think he's in the first few movies. Or books or whatnot. So that's kind of how this is going to go. It's really building up to his reveal, and then once he arrives, it's not going to be good. So
yeah, people are going to start dying soon. So
right.
Yeah, he's been fun to. I'm already halfway through book 2 and penciling, so He's been fun to try to get him onto some panels too. So it's been kind of cool to work with him.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a 5-issue series?
This particular story arc is going to be 5 issues. Yeah, there's a lot of characters with a lot of potential backstories that we could really dive into in future story arcs. So, but this will conclude after book 5.
So this arc will conclude after book 5. It's not saying that the series is done there.
No.
Just
really go on. Yeah.
Yeah, just like the first arc.
Right. Yeah.
It really depends on how successful this 5-issue arc is, right? So if it does really well and people really dig it, which so far the feedback's been great, so that's a good sign.
You think?
Yeah. Well, even the people that have read, and reviewed, and we got a review for it the other day that was really positive, which was exciting, and so I think the future story arcs are definitely pretty high possibility that we're going to go with those. So
yeah,
nice.
And Will being able to travel time, dimension, space, I mean, he could show up in other books too accidentally, right? We could throw an Easter egg in, and maybe Will's in the background or something like that. And we actually did do a crossover piece with Heel Turn. Rogerio drew up I think, do we have that on there, John, with the updates? Or
yeah, it should be.
There's a scene on that campaign update where Will basically accidentally teleports himself into the scene with the main character, Heel Turn, where he's doing one of his serial kills. So if you back both Heel Turn and our book at the 25 plus level, you get this limited edition print. So Rogerio drew this, and I colored it. So there's Will accidentally teleporting into a murder scene. So there might be some more things like that, right? So that's plausible.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he could actually, teleport into, say, a baseball game.
Sure.
Yes. There's
Good
other
segue, John. Take it.
Yeah. Well, so before that too, I wanted to. Oh man, I had a thought, I lost it. But yeah, so we've talked about this. I love the whole idea of having this whole universe where even if it's a small tie-in, just as an Easter egg, that it could all be related somehow, right? So the new comic we're working on called Deadball, it takes place in the early 1900s. The main character's name is Ted. He's a baseball player that has his career cut short by injury, and the story follows him and his desperate, situation where it's almost a deal with the devil sort of situation. The carnival's in town. he goes to the carnival drunk, on his crutches, feeling bad for himself after fighting with his wife about how he's going to provide for the family. And the magician in the carnival, he's also the guy who runs the carnival, is a supernatural cult leader. So he offers to heal Ted for a return favor in the future. Ted's desperate, so he accepts that, doesn't even know what that return favor is. And that's the overall concept without spoiling too much, but it's going to be a lot a lot darker than Yule, more adult themed, more blood. But again, there's supernatural. There's some magic stuff.
It sounds like a horror version of Eastbound and Down.
I promise you, the main character is not designed after Danny McBride. So, although I do love that show. Yeah, I'm excited for that series too. But there definitely could be potential, at least an Easter egg crossover mixed in there. But I have some other story ideas roughly outlined that would be much more related to the Kasi and what it does. So I think you'll see this pop up in different series for sure.
Yeah, it's a very interesting concept. It's cool that you have you just so happen to have a crossover piece with the book that I did PR for at the opening.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know if that was planned or not, but there it is. It worked out.
Yeah, I'd give a quick plug for Heel Turn too. I think it looks great. I love Dexter, and I grew up a wrestling fan, so the thought of the two combining, I was going to back it before we even started talking to Ruggiero to work with us. So I hope it does well.
Yeah, Ruggiero's got his fingers in a whole bunch of campaigns.
Yeah, his work is so cool. It's very, I call it like architectural, for lack of a better word. It's very precise and technical.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool to see. It's almost got a clip art feel to it, which I like. My stuff tends to be a little bit more loose, so it's neat to see, especially something like this where it's his take on my character. So that's kind of fun working with that too. It's kind of fun to see someone else's vision of what that would look like.
Yeah, it's a very cool looking piece too.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. Yeah, he's wonderful to work with, and just he's a cool cat. So we've had him on the show a couple times already. He's almost becoming a regular on there. So the river runs deep with that guy. So he's a cool cat.
Yeah, I know. Will told me that he had an interview with a Brazilian podcast last week, I think.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a big scene down there, man. Like South America, Central America. There's some fantastic artists and things working down there right now. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're slaying down there. It's great. Great to see.
It's like American artists don't know what they're up against.
Oh yeah, like I was talking. I think it was on. I lose track of shows, but one of them was saying, like the arts, in other countries are so stressed in school, whereas in America we're cutting those types of programs because of money, right? Like first thing that goes the art program, the bands, music, right? They cut all that stuff, so kids don't have that stuff forced on them. It's like internationally, starting in kindergarten, like art is part of your curriculum. You will have art, and like you do that for all of your regular undergrad, grade school undergrad stuff. It's art. So, and there it is, right? It bears fruit. So we really should get back to that in terms of public school offering too, is really keep kids in the art, keep them in music. I know it probably kept me alive, kept me out of trouble in the band days, believe it or not. In art too, right? Because being an artist, you're never bored. You never have enough time. You always have something to do. So that always kept my hands busy and not in trouble. So that was a good thing.
Art for me got me in trouble because I wouldn't do it on paper. I would do it on the desks in the class.
Well, we allegedly spray painted a lot of buildings. You may have seen some work along, I-90 and things. Allegedly.
I didn't know for like a good 5 years that I was spelling Aerosmith wrong. So
I was the guy that always wrote Ozzy on the chalkboard before class. That was my move.
Yeah. My move would get me, locked up nowadays because I was I still am, for their older stuff, a huge Def Leppard fan. And
Oh,
when I was in
nice,
high
man.
school, Pyromania had come out.
Nice. There you go.
So of course the logo from Pyromania was basically the sniper crosshair that I used to draw on the chalkboard,
Nice. There you go.
which now would be, taken as,
Oh yeah, you'd be gone.
Yeah.
that's a death threat. Well, you should have passed me.
Yeah. You're an extremist, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I am so extreme. Look out! I'll go get a mini pocket flag and start waving it.
You're so extreme they'll get a Nuno Betancourt tattoo like on your arm.
Oh yeah. Oh man, Nuno.
Yep. We played with them at the Bahama Beach Club in Nashua, New Hampshire in like '93. So there you go. All right.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I remember his brother's band too. He started, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? No. Good. We're even.
Yep.
It was,
We played.
I'm Nuno Betancourt's brother. I don't give a fuck.
Okay. Great.
You know.
We played with Godsmack down there in like '93, man. Back when they were like nobody at the Bahama Beach Club.
When they were still a cover band, yeah.
Oh yeah, like they were like they had no image, right? They just looked like four dudes that were sitting at the bar having beers that got up and picked up instruments and played. Like no one had heard of Godsmack yet. And then they blew up, right? So they became huge. So yeah, it was wild. But I had a lot of bands like that we played with that went on to do big things. So it's fun to have that history and got to do that. It was just interesting to see them before they hit. It's kind of cool.
I knew them when they were nobody.
Yep, literally. My kids probably think I make up all this stuff, but nope, I did it. So
I always call Joel the Dos Equis man, and I'm like sitting here and I'm just like, yeah, I got nothing to offer to this, and my life was boring apparently.
Well, it was a good time, man. The '90s, right? That was a good era for music and stuff up in New England. So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was a big scene back then up here. It was a big thing. It was like you almost had to be an artist and in a band. That was like a prerequisite. And you weren't even just in a band. You were in like 2 or 3 bands. That was a common move too. It was a big thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, John, don't worry about it. You don't have cool band stories, but you can tell everybody, hey, around Halloween, you want to come by my house.
Yeah, you won't see that at my house. My house is pretty dull for Halloween, because we're out in the middle of nowhere and nobody's going to see it ananyway. So there's really no point.
My son wants to make a whole haunted trail that everyone has to walk through in our driveway. Last year, he sat in a chair with the candy bowl on his lap after he was done trick or treating, and he would jump up to scare kids. It was I'm like, man, you're made for this stuff. But
I used to do something like that when I was like a little younger than my daughter. I had taken like an old plaid shirt that I hated because my mother used to buy them at Sears every year. Get stuck with like 3 colored plaid shirts. Why do I need a plaid shirt? Because they're warm. And then she would get mad because I go out without a coat and a t-shirt in the snow, and still do.
Yeah.
But I took an old pair of jeans and an old like Frankenstein Halloween mask, and I shoved it in the top of the shirt, and I used twine to tie everything off. And then I filled the pants and the shirt with leaves. And then I took all the twine and put it through the eye hole screws that used to hold up all the Christmas lights on the outside of the house. And I would hide in the bushes, and kids would come up, and the monster, Frankenstein would be there in the bowl. The candy bowl would be like at his feet. And then as soon as they got within 6 inches, I would just start, working the pulley system and scare the crap out of them.
that's awesome. Yeah, my kid definitely tries to pull that stuff on me. I do very well not cursing in front of my kid for the most part, and but he has the jumping spider animatronic, and he'll randomly stick that in the garage and plug it in. And it was just a couple weeks ago. I'm just walking out, and all of a sudden it just made that loud screeching sound and jumped out at me, and I was like, "You motherfucker!" I'm like, I had to bite my tongue. I'm like, "Will, I'm gonna crush that thing and throw it in the trash. Get it out of here."
Yeah. So this is awesome. Congratulations on smashing everything.
Thanks.
And you know the book is getting made, and hopefully in this last week you will open up some more goals and get that EC book, that EC exclusive cover
Yeah.
homage. And I mean, that's an awesome cover. There's a lot of you got a lot of great stuff in here. You have some very underpriced sketches, which should get people on board. And I know, like the last week, like last 3 to 5 days, everybody's getting that final email from Kickstarter or Indiegogo reminding them about the project, and usually have like an upturn. Especially, I know you guys are first time out, but they look and they see, goes, oh, books are getting made. It's all funded.
Push it. Yeah.
It's way past funded, and so hopefully you should get way past that 3K goal. So
Yeah.
It'd be awesome. We're in a dead zone right now, which I think we both expected to have a stretch where it was a little light on backers. But I mean, the first week and a half was just it felt like every day. It was, if you go to that Kick Tracks website and it projects out what you're supposed to make, and it was saying like almost 20K, and we're like, that would be amazing.
oh yeah, it was projecting that because of what happened in the first 6 hours.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm hoping for that late push to get us over. I mean, I think if we can get over 4K, that would be wonderful. But 3K gets people that cover, so that's huge.
Yeah, that'll be great. Why don't you guys let everybody know where they can follow you and websites and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, I'll take that because John likes me to do that. So
I always butcher it.
Big thing we're doing right now, we just really kind of got going with the YouTube channel. So I say first and foremost, YouTube, Livid Comics. We're doing at least a weekly show, sometimes two right now, kind of like this. And it's a free-form hang, very much like what you're doing here. So we like that. It's pretty cool. And, if someone has a book or wants to talk about a project, we want to know about it. We want to have you on and talk with you. So that's cool. So again, Livid Comics on YouTube. Facebook, of course, facebook.com/Livid Comics. Instagram is livid_comics. I'm usually running the Instagram, and John is building up to Twitter and rocking that at Livid Comic, singular, no S, because for some reason someone has our name for something that doesn't do anything with it. As always, somebody has your name on there, right? So just Livid Comic, no S. Main website is lividcomics.com. Right now, it shares a home with my fine art stuff, so you can see some of my background with painting and things on lividcomics.com. Also, you can pick which portal you want to go in. You go to the comic world, or you go to the fine art world. Check that out. Eventually, it'll have its own standalone page. So that's just where you're landing it for now.
Very cool. So hopefully, we'll be seeing you in the very near future, and we're gonna be keeping an eye on this. And Joel, I guess you're going to be on Monday Madness next Monday with Pops.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, thanks for the hookup. That's sweet.
And there's plenty of other shows out there. If you guys just want to send me a short list of the shows you've done, I might be able to get you hooked up on a few more.
Nice.
Before the end of the week, because your wives will love that. You're on another show.
Yeah, I told her she wouldn't see me this week. I'm like, it'll be over in a week. Don't worry.
Yeah. And my wife watched our Saturday night show, and there was about a 10-minute conversation about boobs. So I got a text. I was like, "This is the time you choose to watch right now." It was
variant covers.
That's why we were talking about it. But she didn't see that part. She came in after the fact.
It's always the way, right? It's like there's a little bit of backstory to what we're talking about, how we got onto boobs.
She turns it on, and John's like, boobies.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
This part for this interview, she's going to turn it on to the part where we're talking about, my right forearm. So it always that's how it works.
Yeah, you take it out of context, right? Sounds like media, right? Modern mainstream media.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to MSNBC.
Yeah, we'll be a threat after this one. We'll splice us together, and we'll be a threat. It's been a cool ride, man. I gotta say, like us coming into this and the people we met, and everybody's really cool and awesome, and we're here to help other people out too. Like we're big into that. So, whatever we can do to help other people out too. We want to know about what struggles they're having and what we can do to help. So we extend out that favor also. That's really important to us.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you guys ever done or gone to like the Little Giant comic?
Yes, that was the one in April, and there's another one in August too.
So I know they do really good up there because it's like an old time.
Yeah,
it's like an old
great.
time comic show. So
it was
it's
packed, man. It was packed.
It was really busy. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd like to get there. I briefly reached out to the I don't know what you call him, creator or runner of that show, and it's like, yeah, man, we're full already. So I don't know, but yeah, we'll go anywhere. We're easy. So yeah,
it should be good. I know the Boston show now is mostly just a pop culture thing. They kind of like shove all the comic book creators off in the corner, and the rest of the place is just filled up for people that want to give millionaires their hard-earned money for 30 seconds of their time.
Right.
Instead of meeting the people that, especially nowadays, created everything that they've done.
Right.
I'm the other way. I'm always on the artist alley, right? Always hitting those guys up. That's my thing, and I like to talk about the struggle with other artists and that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Hey, good morning, Mike, Jimmy, Debren. Mike is a comic creator from the Netherlands.
Oh, awesome! That's nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's early for him.
Yeah, he's just getting up for work.
Okay, gotcha. Well, maybe you can call in sick today. Tell him I told your boss you can call in sick. So. Take the day off.
He needs to pay rent, and then he just wrapped his book, which did very well, and he did a cross promotion with another UK creator too.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's becoming a good scene. Like some of our backers are in the UK. We have some good people there too, so that's nice to see and talk with those guys and what their scene's like over there. It's really interesting too.
Yeah, there's a lot of it's just great all around comic book stuff going on right now.
It's a good time.
Indie's just getting bigger and bigger, and I think
yeah. When you work for yourself, it's hard to call in sick. Right?
Yeah,
he's got to pay his colorist. She's really good.
Yeah, they like to get paid. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
Go figure. How dare they?
It's crazy. It's like, do you want to make a comic book? Yeah. Do I have to pay anybody? Yeah. I go, okay. I don't want to make a comic book.
Yeah, I like the people that offer you like $10 a page, things like that. It's like, yeah, I don't get out of bed for that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Wrong tree barking up there.
Yeah.
People need to get paid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this has been very cool getting to meet and know you guys, and even better, as we like to say around New England, you just up the road a piece. So,
yeah, man, it's been awesome. Thanks for having us on. It's been really cool. So
it's been a great time, and we wish you all the luck with this book, and we will definitely keep in touch. I already subbed to your YouTube channel earlier.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. That's awesome. Thank
you. We'll check that out, and we'll see everybody. I have a special guest from the UK of all places. Tomorrow at 1, we have actually not the UK. He's from Portugal. Marv V has a book called The Sin Killer. Just launched this past weekend. It's his first book, and we're going to have him on at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Awesome.
So that should be cool. Until next time, guys, thank you so much. And have a great night.